Hello everyone, this is Terry with Futures.io, and as always, I would like to thank you for joining us today. Now, it is my pleasure to welcome back Anthony Drager for today's webinar, Trade Journaling with an Amazing Twist. If you have questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box throughout the webinar. We'll do our best to answer them at the end of the event. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do us a favor and give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the webinar. And as always, please feel free to share, comment, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us a lot. For trading news, events, and information, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter using @Futures.io. And now, without further delay, I'll hand it over to Anthony, and you should get the pop-up to share your screen again.
I got it. Give me a second. Should be sharing, and you should be hearing me.
Yep, looks
Good.
Sounds good. She is all yours.
All right, Terry, thank you, and thanks to Big Mike, Futures.io. It's always a unique group because I find that this forum, being around a long time, and the way that Mike vets out the people who present, you generally get more serious traders. So before I start and get into the how and the why and the what of this tool, I want to show you a chart of today, and I want people at this point to think about one thing. Raise your hand. You don't have to do it in the room, but just physically raise your hand if you miss trades. Everybody should have their hand in the air. I don't care if you made millions of dollars in this business or have lost millions of dollars in this business. We all miss trades, and it's a common pain point among all of us. So what if you were able to kind of turn back and look at a day, redo it? How different does your statement look? I'm not asking or telling people you got to catch all your missed trades. If you just caught one more a day or two a week, 5 extra trades that you didn't miss, and that you normally missed, how different does your month-end statement look? So let's look at this chart for a second. This is a Ninjatrader chart. Typically, when you make trades, if you plot them on your chart, they're done with arrows, right? And you can see this arrow up here signifies a sell. Maybe you got out too early down in here. Another short trade. This is the S&P E-mini from today, by the way. And I'll get into who I am and what this tool is, so don't worry. I just want to give people a sense of this is what your trades look like, right? If you go back and you made them. So on your trading statement that you open up at night, it's going to reflect the results of these trades, and that's it. It's not going to show you trade you missed because you didn't take it. So you could run these trades through any kind of program or statistical analysis of your average winner, your average loser, all these great stats, and they're good. But they don't tell you the most important part of this business, what the heck you're missing. And now how does your statement again look different if you turn missed trades into trades? So let me erase these illustrations a second and turn these particular this chart and added some dots and lines, which is this verbal journal. And again, I'm going to explain what it is in more detail throughout this webinar. But what if, and this actually happened to me today, I put great resistance. I put a verbal journal dot with great resistance right there. And I added a line to it, and it worked. Then I added a missed trade dot, which I color in teal green. Why teal green? Because I hate that color. So I don't want to see a lot of teal greens on my chart. If I miss a trade, I dot, I plot it, I record why I missed it to prevent missing that same setup again. This was a great setup of I had resistance and I had the qualifier come into place later on in the session. I'm going to get back to what this looked like on another chart, but I had the qualifier and I missed it. So what I did is I documented it with this verbal journal. And what this means is I could go back, hold my control and left click, and it brings up this box. I titled it, "You Can't Miss Double Stack Support Taken Out into Resistance." I play and I listen back to why the heck I missed it. What was it that got me out of this trade, or kept me from getting into this trade rather? So I look at this particular session and I say, there's a couple missed trades that I have on here. There's 3 of them. What if I just would have caught one of them? How different does my statement look tonight? If I catch an extra 3 or 4 trades during the course of a week, how different does my statement look at the end of that week or that month? And you ask yourself, how much is that worth to you? How much are these costs, opportunity costs, going by the board? And again, it's not reflective on your statement because these are trades you're not taking. All right, so as promised, let me get into back to the slides and give you guys a sense of what the verbal journal is all about and how it could help you. First of all, it creates the most simplistic way to journal your trades. And if you read this, it makes it practical for those who already journal, makes it more practical for those who already journal, and possible for those who don't. That's an important feature. So let me get into the agenda so you guys could get a sense of what I'm going to cover over the next 20 or 30 minutes. And like Terry said, I'll leave time open for questions. I don't go on for a long time. This is a simple tool, and so therefore the explanation is also simple. What it is, how to use it, and most importantly, why the heck to use it. The what, the how, and the why. Now quickly about me, Terry mentioned I've been here before. I started my career as a teenager, 17 years old, as a runner in high school. After college, I became a CME clerk, bought thousands of dollars in education, some good, some not so good, to become a pit trader, and became a board of trade member in 1999 and failed. Couldn't make any money on the floor, ready to quit. My girlfriend, now my wife, kept me into it, and I met a risk manager at a prop firm. Didn't know what a prop firm was. Many of you guys don't know what a real prop firm is. I get hired by this prop firm called International Trading Group, ITG, one of the top prop firms in all of Chicago. There's a lot of prop firms in and around Chicago because it's one of the futures capital of the world. That's all that I've traded was futures throughout my career, but that's where my success started. So sitting in an office about 9 years ago, I said to a couple of guys there, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you clicked on your chart, had the opportunity to record what your thoughts were, closed it, and had a dot appear? And the response was, yeah, that would be great. That's awesome. It was like 9 years ago. So it's taken a while to get from there to here, only because I didn't really do it. And once I hired a developer to develop it, he had talked about the commercial value to this. And so that's what has brought me here. So let's move on to the what the heck is it? What is it? If you take an image of a chart and you click on that chart, for ninja traders, it's a control left click, a dialog box appears. In this dialog box, you're given the opportunity to title it, color it in here, title it up here. I'll explain more in detail in a second. Hit record, start talking. Why am I missing this trade? This is a trade I want to take, but I'm afraid for this reason or that reason. Or maybe you bought an indicator that you like, but you get your you know what rearranged every time you take that trade because you're missing something in real time. You're documenting in real time what the heck is going on. Once you close this box, a dot will appear where you made it, like this one here, or even that one up there. So now anywhere you see dots on your chart, and you could use this for candlesticks, for bars, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, whatever your time period, whatever your chart type. Wherever you see dots on your charts now, you had that extra dimension of your thoughts and your ideas and your journaling. So let me get into how to use it by blowing up what I'm calling the dialog box in the verbal journal. You select the color here and it brings up a color panel. Whatever color this block is, the color the dot is going to be left. You could decide whether or not you want a line to come out from that dot. I'll show you this in a moment. You title it in this field in here. What's cool about titling it is I wanted to make it easy. It's a simple tool, and I wanted to make it all obviously as streamlined as possible. So once you make a title and make a recording and close it, that title will now be part of a drop-down menu. So for the most part, journaling, you might have 6 or 10 titles you keep going through and it's the same title. I know I do. So you don't have to keep typing every time you make a note. You just select it from a previous title that you have. Then you hit record and you talk. Like I said before, you swear, you talk, you yell, you do what you need to do to get better. You need what you need. You do what you need to do to turn a mistrade into a trade that now changes what your statement looks like. Again, another how to use it you pick your mic source. It picks up, if you got multiple mics hooked up to your PC, it picks up which one you want to use. For the most part, that's just going to be one mic. And you go from there. Real simple and straightforward. After you close the box, again, a dot appears wherever you control left clicked it. I'm going to tell you the platforms this works on and some other stuff also in a moment. So sit tight, but you go back and you control left click on this blue dot, let's say. This dialog box will reappear with the title you had in it, and you hit play, and then you listen to whatever your recording was. Saves also down to your PC as a WAV file, so you're backed up, and it becomes a real organized way and simplistic way to journal. Like I said earlier, if you already journal, this is a great complement to make your journaling more efficient. If you don't journal like I never did, or I never sustained it, this makes you do it because there's no excuse not to do it anymore. So to the final point, why to use it. And then I'm going to pull up Ninja on a live chart and click around and show you the functionality. Anytime I get into the why to do anything, I put up a picture of my family. That's me in the background. I'm not the tallest. I'm actually on my toes. That's my dad up front and all my dumb brothers and sisters around us. I bring up a picture of my family because my dad always told us, growing up, if you know how, you'll have a job. But if you know why, you'll be the boss. If you know how, you'll have a job. If you know why, you'll be the boss. The why is important, guys, with whatever education you invest in, whatever tools you buy, whatever indicators you see. And this is not an indicator. This is an aid. This is just a cool tool to turn, again, mistrades into trades. So going over some of the uses and why to use it, it gets people to start to journal because it's a very important aspect. What I like about Futures.io is they underscore the value of journaling. In fact, last month, you guys had a competition. When they do it again, because I think they roll that out every few months, this verbal journal will make your notes so much more efficient and streamline your thoughts into actions. So if you journal, it makes it more efficient. If you If you don't, it gives you no excuses to start. Second point, like I said over and over again, missed trades. I'm not egotistical to think that I got all the right reasons or ways to use this. What I've been fascinated about is some people that have been early adopters to this thing, because we just rolled it out a week and a half ago, and the beta testers prior to that have given me ideas on how they're using it, and it's a really awesome community because I can't think of every way that you would use this. I like taking missed trades into trades because I know that I look at my week and say, what if I didn't miss that one or that one? How different does my week look from a profit loss standpoint? For some people, if you miss less trades, it turns you from failing to succeeding. It's that line. Another feature is saving time. And I don't mean saving time because it's so cumbersome to write in notebooks or type it out on a chart, which was the previous ways to document your thoughts and ideas. I mean, saves you time with this element, your pre-market opinion. Again, raise your hand if you create research or you study what you think the market's going to do that day, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all have ideas and sometimes a pre-market opinion. And I'm going to show you this in a second, but wouldn't it be nice, and the verbal journal allows you to do this, put a blue dot, let's say, or a light blue dot, where you think the market's going to be bullish that day, and a light red dot where you think it's going to be bearish that day. Then go back on the week and say, damn, I'm always right on. Why the heck aren't I trading from that side of the market? It takes the fear you had and replaces it with something. When you can go back a month and say, man, I'm right on with my opinion. I got to start executing that opinion and stop missing my ideas. Or let's flip it around. Maybe you look at the chart, you see blue dots and the market went down all day like today, or red dots and it rallied all day, and you're going to save yourself time because your opinion stinks. So stop doing all that work and homework to come up with one. I don't always have one. I always know what the driver is. That's a big part of my preparation. What's driving the market? What could drive the market? What kind of headline risk is out there? But I like to wait till the game starts. There's nothing wrong, however, having an opinion before it starts. Just remember, document whether or not it's worth the time. And then finally, why to use it is because of that word. And just stay with me for a second on this one. We're all fearful, and you're supposed to be a little fearful in this business. But if you're too fearful, and stop looking at my family members. I'm the smartest one of that bunch, by the way. The most important part, and I just say that because I caught myself looking. The most important part about eliminating fear is reducing it. If we're too fearful, we're paralyzed. We don't do anything. We miss all kinds of stuff. If we're not fearful at all, we're overconfident. We're numb. We're like cowboys. We just start taking too much risk. So you don't take risk if you're too fearful, and you don't manage risk well if you're not fearful. The only way to eliminate the fear that keeps you from doing stuff and missing trades is to replace it with something. And you replace it with confidence. Let me give you an analogy before I go forward. If you're about to get in a fight, whether you were in grade school, high school, or today, you're going to be fearful because you don't want to get beat up. I don't want to get beat up. So you're fearful if you're going to get in a confrontation. How do you not be fearful? Well, if you trained yourself to defend yourself, all of a sudden you're confident that you're going to defend yourself. And the best fighters, the toughest people in the world, are the ones who avoid a fight. They're confident, they're objective when this confrontation happens. They don't let their emotions take it to the worst case scenario. They know how to defend themselves if it does, but they're confident to be objective. That's what trading is. It's a fight every day. You got to be objective in that fight when you know what hits the fan. So let me go to this next screen before I go to a ninja chart and talk about the uses again. Missed trades always keep coming up, but there's more to that. And I'm just throwing suggestions of colors you would use, maybe red for missed short trades, blue for missed long trades. Your pre-market ideas, like I mentioned, maybe you color them light blue and pink. In trade emotion, I didn't bring this up. You put a trade on, it's open, you click the verbal journal, and you just think out loud. You go bleep this, bleep that, bleep, bleep, bleep. Great. Get involved. See if you're too emotional. See if you're not emotional enough. Because the inflection of your voice is going to give you the edge that you need. You know, a lot of people invest in indicators education, and I say that that's great. You need good education, or else how are you going to learn it? But you got to help yourself and retain those skills when the market's in front of you and trading, and when you're emotional because you got an open position. How many people get out of trades too soon, and that's a problem? Raise your hand. Once in a while or a lot? How do you maximize that? Because you're emotional inside the trade. Listen to what you're saying in the trade. Listen to that little fear monkey on your shoulder that's telling you, come on, get out. This is a good enough winner. Let's be right. Let's be right. Get out. Or the other way. I don't get out yet. You're not wrong unless you take the loser. Sell more. Maybe those are yellow dots. And then another really important dimension you put on your SNR, which is support resistance, is why is it support resistance? How many people here are market or volume profilers? That's a great theory. It's a great technique. But you got to know why the levels might work. You got to add some real-time analysis around why those levels are working or not working. You can't just bid support and offer resistance and think life is good. It's playing on the railroad tracks. You're going to get hit. You got to qualify if the train's going to stop here or if it's going to stop here so you don't get run over. So why support resistance? And you could do it with the verbal journal with dash red lines or dash green lines if that's what you so choose. All of this leading to confidence. Verbal journal makes you consistent, which gives you confidence, which replaces the fear. Now, how does your statement look tonight? How different does it look tonight if you could redo some of your missed trades today? Because you're actually documenting them in a very easy, simplistic fashion. There's no gray area. You don't see these missed trades in a statement, and you don't see them in the very best journaling tools in the world. Now, there's some good ones out there, but you will now with this tool. So let me go back to a Ninja chart. Remember, the red and green arrows could show your trades if you plot your trades on a chart. But I talked about why support resistance. So let's just say I got some support down in here. I think it's going to be support. Let me drag this chart. Before I know that I think that there's going to be good support, I hold my control key down, I left click, and this dialog box pops up. And I say to myself, great. I say, great resistance? No, because that was a previous one. I say, great support, not D. Better trader than I'm a typer. And I select the color, green. Hit OK. Whatever color that box is going to be a color that left behind. And I want to draw a line. So I record. Hey, there's going to be great support. I see some stuck sellers here. I'm going to buy this when it comes down in here if I see XYZ. You stop it, close it, and there's in the bottom right, you've seen the green pop. Now, it was terrible support. But you go back and you listen. Could I qualify why that was crappy support so I don't try to buy it next time? Every time I have support for one reason, it usually doesn't work. So I'm going to stop creating support for that reason. That's another weakness of a lot of traders, is that you have your lines in the sand before the game starts, but as the game starts, what's your real-time support resistance? You start now putting them the why, not just the line, but the why it's a line. I talked about missed trades. And if I hold control and left click a previous note, the dialog box comes up. I hit play or delete. If I hit play, it's going to tell me what I wrote at that particular moment. Miss long. There'll be swear words in this, maybe. But I'm telling myself, you missed this long because you said this, because you thought that. And if you get a common denominator of when I say this and talk myself out of a trade, they're winners. So recognize that speech. It's not rocket science. You could go to, let's say, a pre-market bias. Let's just pretend for a second that, let me put a vertical line. Let's just pretend that the day started here, right here. And we pull this over. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But I got my pre-market homework. And I have my pre-market down in here. Where is it? Here it is. Pre-market bias. Already got selected. And I hit record. But I don't want a line, so I uncheck it. I want my pre-market bias to be bearish, or bullish rather, so it's light blue. Hit OK. Turn this light blue. I don't want a line. I get pre-market bias. I hit record, and I start talking about what the drivers are in the market, why I'm bullish, and so on. Hit stop. Hit close rather. There's the blue dot on the right side. And now you could see it was dead wrong. Dead wrong today. Now, could you imagine looking back on a week, 2 weeks, a month worth of data to say your pre-market bias is generally like that? How much time that saves you? How much anxiety it saves you? Or flip side, if it was always right, how much confidence that gives you to start trading it from that side? Because I'm telling you, a lot of people waste time coming up with a pre-market opinion. Not that everybody who tries to come up with one is wasting time. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of people, it's irrelevant to what the market does. All right? There's important prep work you need to do, but too many people waste time because it doesn't ever, it's work sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't give you confidence. Everything you do from this webinar on has to give you consistency to confidence to replacing fear. That's what this tool does. So another instant, this is today actually, and I want to show you guys something on a different platform to go over this trade right in here. Let me get rid of this because it's just some noise in here. I actually put this on here at this moment right there, okay? And I put that on there because I seen some support that got taken out at this particular time. right in here. All right, this was around 11 o'clock Central. So let me go and show you what that looks like and why I put that note on there. I don't use Ninja to trade. It works on Ninja, it works on Sierra. Try to get it work on Market Delta. I'm a Market Delta guy, and most of you guys that know me know that is a Market Delta chart. But I want to show you something on, I think I lined this up. So, okay, so here's what I'm talking about. See all these greens? Don't try to, I'm not going to try to explain what's on this chart. But you see all these greens? You see how this bar takes them all out? There, and there. That's when I said this has got to be support or resistance. What am I talking about? This is going to be resistance. Wait a second. Let me go back. This is the instance. Sorry about that. Same concept though. They took all this out, and this selling created some really good support that I want. This is at 1110. This is what I'm talking about. Now, fast forward to when the market comes up there. This was the damn qualifier when it takes out this support. So the resistance was set because of taking out support. And the qualifier was when it was taking out support, get in. I didn't. You know why I didn't? And I documented this. I didn't because I was having a decent day up to that point, and I didn't want to risk any of it and go into this webinar giving back what I made. And almost every time I do that, when you're worried about giving back your day, you miss good trades. So let me bring the Ninja chart back up. So I just put that in right after 11:10 this morning, great resistance. And then I put this teal green dot because I don't like this color. So I put it on there so I don't see a lot of them. You can't miss double stack support taken out into resistance. That's the title. Pretty clear. That's my go-to trade. And I missed it. But I could play back and listen to why I missed it. And then you play back and listen to why you missed trades and find a common element. And I guarantee you'll find your common denominator. So when you start thinking and talking yourself out of a trade, you'll remember, this is what I sound like when I miss great trades. What's the matter with me? Now you start turning missed trades and missed opportunities into trades and into opportunities. There's another element and dynamic about missed trades I got to tell you about. It's not only what you missed as far as the potential profit, but it's also what you do next. Think about that for a second. After I miss a great trade, I really got to be cognizant of my next trade, because generally I'm going to want to force it and want to put something on to get back this missed opportunity. So you got to be focused and really on top of things. And that's why talking yourself, once I plotted this, it got it out there, got it off my chest. So I wasn't anxious to try to sell it in the hole or get back this trade or do worse, try to buy it because I missed the sell. You know, crazy stuff like that is what your mind does. I got it off my chest and allowed me to miss less. This is real-time resistance. And I got to put it on here, but this was on here. And the reason why, I'll click in here and show you in the title and then play it back, stuck buying, and what I feel about it, what else was going on, so I could document and stack the reasons why this should be great resistance. Then another thing I'm using this for and started doing, and today down days or up days are good for some of this research I'm doing. It's not research, it's if I'm going to fight a downtrend, which what today was, and I get inclined to want to buy and fade a move lower at some point, right? I want to stay on the right side, but at some point you get some vicious rallies. So I want to know the transitions. So these blue dots, if I play back, is when I get bullish. And I can look back and say, okay, why was this a transitional moment up, and was I right after I had the thought? Yes, no, yes, yes, and so on. So transitional moments. Because you could see this market was pretty bearish, the S&Ps today, right? If you guys traded it. But it went from after like 130 Central, man, it rallied out of the hole a good 15 handles. So if you're still bearish in this mess, you're going to get your face rearranged. if you look at this, what's also cool about verbal journal is that if I control left click on the line, it'll bring up the note. I don't have to go back to the dot always. Also, what's cool about the verbal journal is this is a 2-minute candlestick, right? Say I want to go to a 15-minute. The dots reappear accordingly. So I want to go back to a 2-minute. The dots reappear back in here. And of course, back in here. So the thing I'm trying to convey is replace missed trades with trades. And guys, I'm not trying to say if you miss 5 trades a week, you're not going to miss 5 trades a week with this. But say you only miss now 3 trades a week. You caught 2. How different does your P&L look? So this isn't the predict, like when you buy lagging indicators, and I'm not beating up on indicators. I'm not beating up on anything. I think there's some good stuff out there. It's all how you use it. The verbal journal will get your real-time analysis dialed in. And nobody could sit out there and say that they're the best at reading the real time, and you're not always working on reading the real time. That's where the money is. All right? That's where the money is. So why not document what your thoughts are real time, what you're seeing, so you can get rid of the crap that is useless to look for and start getting into what's important to look for. So this here at 12:10 Central, this resistance I put in real time, which was around 96 even. If I go to my market delta chart, and we go up to, what time did I say, 12:10, it's because of this guy right in here. No, it wasn't. It was this guy right in here, 95.5. This dotted line. I don't want to get into why this went from a green to a red dotted line. All I know is that's when I put good resistance at that level. Came into it, took out support, and ran down. So instead of just seeing this, I go back and talk myself through why. I never stop asking and answering that question. Because like my dad said, you know how, maybe you'll have a job, probably not in trading, but if you know why, you be the boss of your career, your statement, and everything else. So it's really important kind of summary of many ways to use this, missing trades, documenting your pre-market stuff, being able to efficiently, hey, if you still like to write, by all means, do it. But you could write after the session's over, and you do it more efficiently. How many people write in their journals? By the time you're done with the second paragraph, you don't even know why you were writing the first paragraph. So while people get started by keeping a journal, it's hard to sustain keeping a journal. And it's important. It's not work when it's as simple. It's work when it has to be written or typed. It's not work when you use this. You put a trade on, control left click, dialog box, just hit record. And start saying, yeah, I'm here long here at 03 even, as the market rotated back down to some support. The NASDAQ rallied. I love pullback to rotational pullback to support. I'm risking 3 ticks. I seen a big buyer come in. Market reacted to it, and the NASDAQ just took off. If I can get the Russell to follow, I got this thing. If not, I'm risking 2 ticks. Right now, I'm going to scratch it. Right now, I just pulled up my stop to scratch it because the NASDAQ gave us more fuel to go up. So now all of a sudden you go back and you listen to this trade and what you were thinking through it. Powerful. Don't think about what you gain with the verbal journal. Think about what you've been missing without it. All right, let's go back to the slides. I will answer your questions. Terry will read them off to me momentarily. Let's go back to the slides if you guys don't mind, and walk you through all of this one by one. So let's get to what does this cost and what does it work on, all right? First of all, it works on Sierra by tomorrow or Saturday. So how many people here, in fact, let me ask this question. How many people, what platform do the people live in this event use? SC for Sierra, NT for Ninja, whatever you use. And then I'll go over. So it's going to work on Sierra the next day or two. It works, been tested and everything else for a while now. Ninjatrader 7 and 8. And I'm not going to charge, if a lot of people are on 7, eventually going to go to 8. All you have to do is purchase it once, and I'll give you installers for both. So you don't have to worry about when you go to 8 what happens. I'll make them good. So it works on 7 and 8, works on Sierra charts. With these webinars and Futures IO, there's a discount code. I'm going to send you to a page. Don't go to verbaljournaltrading.com. I'm going to go to the page with you in a second. But this is not a recurring fee. You buy it once, you got it for life. For Futures IO members, it's limited time. It'll talk about that when you sign up for the code. I'll get in that in a second. But that's the discount, $150 off. That's more than I've done for other partners, and it's as much as I would do. I do it for Big Mike and Futures IO for 2 reasons. Number 1, he's a big proponent of journaling. And number 2, I found that this group usually are people that are serious about the business. And Mike does a good job vetting out the presenters, so it's a great reservoir of content. So I'll show you how to get that in a second. Version 2 is what you guys have been looking at. I'm not going to have an upgrade to version 2. I'm just taking you straight to version 2, but I want you guys to understand something. This isn't just the beginning, or this is just the beginning of this feature. There's a whole Verbal Journal 2.0 that the early adopters are going to be part of, and the community that's expanding from it. It's like buying Apple in 2000 or 1996. That's what you got to look at this. It's not just a utility for yourself. A lot of other great features that the early adopters will be included when they do this, including these monthly community tip videos when people want to share, and that's what a great forum is like Futures IO, and that's what this becomes because you're listening to other, not listening, but sharing how and what journaling does for you, how you use it for subscribers only. So look at your chat box. Terry, if you get a second, let me know you're able to paste in that link I gave you. And as you're doing that, I'm going to go and pull up the same link.
Yep, it's posted.
All right, everybody click on that, and I'll show you where it takes you. So I'll blow it up. There's a special Futures IO page. So on banners that'll be appearing on the website, Futures IO website, only Futures IO members are going to come to this page. Simply give your email address and name, and a discount code will be sent to you immediately. Use that discount code for the $150 off. It's good for another 4 minutes. No, I'm just joking. It's good to the middle of next week. When you sign up, I'll give you a heads up as to the deadline on it. The deadline on it is not about a sales technique. It's about a trading technique. You're in a business where trades are decisions. So you got to get good at making decisions. And you got to decide, is there more risk doing it or is there more risk not doing it? A lot of people look at when they're going to invest in something, well, what's the risk in doing it? Well, how about what's the risk in not doing it? Because I don't care how many people in this event are successful. There's a lot of people who aren't. And those who are successful, you don't just put it in neutral. I've been doing this for 18 years. You work on one thing, reading the real time. You work on one thing, location. So if you're not documenting what you think, how are you going to find good spots? So fill this out. If you didn't get the link there, put it back in, or should be able to copy paste the link into a browser, and then just simply email address and first name. For those watching this on YouTube in the future, just go to verbaljournaltrading.com. Pop-up should appear. It won't be this particular discount code. This is for early adopters, as we just rolled it out a week and a half ago. But email address and first name is all you need. Hit subscribe. I don't pepper people with emails. Trust me. You're only going to get what you really sign up for. And I like content-driven stuff about what people are thinking. And again, like I said to you guys earlier, the community you're a part of focuses on journaling. You have journaling competition. I think that's awesome. And I'm looking forward to possibly, having you guys do more of them. There's nothing better than feeling comfortable and confident. Here, I'll give you another analogy. I got 4 kids. They're a little older now, and they're past the Lego stage. We had a lot of Legos. That's what most people's trading is. You kick over a bucket of Legos, they're all over the place. Like I said, my kids are past that stage, and I'm still stepping on those damn things. But that's what your trading ideas are. That's what your thought processes are. They're all over the place. You got to put them together so you get an idea what they're going to look like after they're built. So when you kick over the bucket, they're all pieced together a little bit. So there's more clarity as to what you're thinking. The randomness goes away. So again, that's the link to provide your email address and first name to get the discount code. Terry, you want to roll into questions? We're about 45 minutes in.
Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to start typing them in the questions box, and I will ask them to Anthony. Let's see. Does this tool provide alerts?
Does it provide alerts? No, not this version yet. So what they're asking is, if you make a note, will it provide an alert when it gets to that particular price? No, but you can't put a line that would show you it's coming into play.
Okay. If I own 2 PC, if I trade on 2 PCs, will one license cover both?
No, but I'll make that good. Not out of the box, it doesn't. But what I'll tell people, that if you do it in this time frame, what was this person's first name, Terry?
It's DW. That's all it has.
DW, if you do it, I'll activate 2 licenses. So yes, you'll be able to use it on 2 different machines. But out of the box, it doesn't happen that way. So for him and for anybody else who wants to use it on 2 machines, just after you do it, email me and I'll make good on the offer. I'll enable an extra license for you. I actually have to go in the back end and activate a second use of it, but I'll do that for guys that do this in this group.
Okay. Is it possible to export your journal from one platform to another?
If it's Ninja to Sierra, yes, because it's saved down in a WAV file. So you would attach it and re-import it that way.
Okay. Can you export your timestamp comments to an Excel or some other database?
You could do what you could do once you have a file in that WAV format. It doesn't yet turn it into text, and if that's what they're asking for, it's not going to turn your audio yet into text and then plot that on there. But not being proficient in Excel, if you are, you could do whatever you could do once you have a WAV file in your folder.
Okay. And what is the cost of the software?
It's $497 minus this $150.
Okay.
So that is Do the math. 347. I had trouble with the math, Terry. I was waiting for you to help me out.
we work in a world of numbers. What's wrong with
That's right.
stuff?
I'm not good at math. But here, I'll tell you this. It's not recurring. People
Yeah.
ask you that. It's a one-time, lifetime license. It's easy to install. The first go around of people that did it, I had one support query, and it was they downloaded the wrong file to the wrong version. Other than that, it's been really seamless, which I've been happy about because it's been tested really well. Sierra is even easier to use if people are used to adding a third-party indicator to Sierra. All it does is get activated, and you restart your charts, and it appears as a button. So I'm not showing Ninja in this particular event, but if you had a Sierra chart, it'll appear as VJ up as a button. You click the button, turns your cursor into a verbal journal cursor. Wherever you click, the dialog box will show up. It's a little more seamless and really no install directions. Ninjatrader isn't that difficult, but a couple more steps, and there's an easy video and FAQ document that comes with the automatic email after you get it. And then there's support at Verbal Journal Trading. So you had any problems, you have the solutions to them, and we get back to you right away. But for Sierra users, it's a much easier install process because there essentially is none. And the functionality, you don't even have to go to your keyboard.
Is the lifetime license include updates in the future?
Within the first year, and then I'll roll out how it's going to work after that. I don't want to get into, there's a lot of updates that we have, or not a lot, there's ideas for updates, but I don't want to get trapped into making promises
Okay.
that I can't keep as far as, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And with development, anybody who's been in development, there's no such thing as a deadline for these guys. And I'm not a developer, but if you know any of them, you would agree. The thing is that I'm not going to upcharge you within this first year. That much I can tell you.
Okay. Give them another minute or so on the questions.
While you're doing that, let me show you once again the if you were to take this thing to another chart, so I could tab in here. Let's say I go to a different product. My ES notes are not going to appear on my oil chart, but my oil will. Once it calculates, this is after markets, it's going to give me a data error, but then it'll load. Right, this is not a daily. That's what the problem is. I don't use Ninja for anything other than this. Hold on a second. What do I want daily? Let the data load, because the verbal journal is going to work. This isn't a question, but it eventually will be. And that is, what do you need data? You could use it on sim data. You could use it, and that's another great thing I didn't mention. I wanted to use it on, as long as you got charts on the screen, it doesn't have to be flowing, it doesn't have to be real time. It could be end of day, it could be delayed, it could be sim data. But it also works on playback. That's a question I got in a previous webinar I didn't get yet in here. So you guys know that Ninja has playback, right? Well, you could actually make notes and listen to notes that'll pop when you play it back, which is kind of neat. Now this is oil. I want to show you this. Is there any more questions, Ter?
Nope, I think that is it.
All right, let me just go over this real quick.
Okay.
This is something that I'm working on, and that is crude oil. I don't know how many oil traders there are, but I put dots in here on inventory day. And, well, I started back here. On inventory day, minus 2.6 versus minus 1. And I talk about the reaction. So I put these in here to see inventory net. How does the inventory affect the net change in oil for that day? So I've been putting dots as to what the results are. This was the following week. It printed minus 4. If you guys could see this, some of you could see it. Minus 4.6 versus minus 2.3. So it was a bullish miss, right? And so I put dots if it was a downside miss red, if it was an upside miss blue. And it just, for oil traders, there's a lot of different ways to use this, obviously, but one way is to track economic events, the bigger ones. For oil traders, inventory on Wednesdays is always important. That's like unemployment. We got unemployment number coming tomorrow, and it's like unemployment every Wednesday for oil traders. So it's important to kind of get an idea and a snapshot where the numbers missed and kind of what the reaction was and any kind of verbalization that you could do. So I'll circle back and wrap this up if there's no more questions. That the users, the beta users that were doing this testing over the last several months had a lot of different ways that they used it. Some I presented here. The common denominator was, Anthony, I can't tell you how much I didn't even know I was missing until I organized the thought and listened back to it. I can't tell you how much trades that, like I said, and this is why I say it, and I'm pulling this out of the air, how much less missed trades. You're always going to miss trades. I'm not trying to eliminate it. I'd be a liar if I said I can eliminate all your missed trades. I can't do that. But I can tell you that you'll miss less if you're organizing your thoughts as to why you're missing it. And that's a common denominator of the early users, the testers, that they're like, that's where I came up with that number 5. One of the guys said, these were trades I'd always miss because of my journaling prior. And now I'm taking them because I picked off what I was saying to myself and feeling that told me not to take it. Now when I realize I'm saying that, I take it, and it's made the difference in my P&L and turned them from this particular case to red to a green month in his example. So I ask people put themselves in a position where you're always looking to say to yourself, what does my P&L look like if I didn't miss a few trades? And if we miss in bad trades, how do you say, hey, that's good that I'm missing those? So it's on both sides of the spectrum. But generally, people are fearful of trades that they should take and they don't. And what if you took them? Keep asking yourself that question. And then lastly, when you get into a situation of in a trade, as humans, we don't like to be wrong. What's getting you to hold on to that stupid trade? Because trades are stupid. Think of them that way. You're supposed to make thousands and thousands of trades over the course of a successful career. Why would anyone be that important? They're not. So when you're in a trade and you're making excuses to hold on to that stupid trade, you document it by verbalizing it, and then the next time you're like, I'm getting out because this is what was supposed to get me out, and I'm not listening to my skill. I'm holding on for some emotional reason. Verbal journal help identify that. So I appreciate you guys coming. I look forward to meeting you. Make sure you sign up to that form. Email me if you got any more questions, support@verbaljournal.com, and we'll get back to you. But join this community because including the lifetime license, you're going to get monthly invites to webinars we're going to host with other Verbal Journal users to go over how everyone's using it that are using it, right? That's actually went ahead and purchased it. But thanks again, Terry. Thanks for your help. And like I said, any questions, they know where to get me.
Absolutely. Thank you for the webinar, for the information, and for spending some time with us this evening.
My pleasure.